Well, hello and welcome back. Week 17 is done as well. And you might hear it in my voice a little bit. I'm a little bit nosy and maybe a little bit croaky. It's just I'm recovering. I'm a tad sick, so we'll see how we go. Well, I'm going to talk about that in a second as well. So, we done another week. We got, technically we got 3 weeks, but only 2 of them we are properly training, and the last week we are just resting, making sure that we're not getting injured before the fight. So this week has been quite intense in certain ways. So training wise, we're pushing through the same things. We're doing our wrestling, BJJ, striking, CrossFits, and everything all together. But we specifically been really ramping up our sparring again, keeping the high intensity on that, and kind of growing and refining our skills, because ultimately there's not much we can do at this point. It's there's no real purpose of learning something massively complex at this point, especially only 3 weeks out from the fight. So we are kind of honing in whatever we have and just basically making sure that the bigger issues that we are closing them up, and then also our strengths, we are sharpening those as much as we can. But this week was really good to kind of know where I'm at and where I can work on, what I need to get better. And ultimately, if I look back at the footage, if I look back at the videos, and if I look back at what we were doing, looking back at it, I've been doing pretty good. And when I talk to people, they say I'm doing pretty good. But for the longest time, and especially for the whole week, that wasn't enough. I felt like I was still missing something. There was still nothing complete. And there was a couple of fears kind of popping up, because again, what if I go in and get knocked out? What if I get submitted? What if I get hurt? And these kind of fears were sometimes kind of in the back of my mind. I didn't want to emotionalize about them, so I kind of pushed them to the side. But they were kind of there, and I guess that's anyone going towards a combative fight. You will have these thoughts anyway. It's kind of universal. But again, what thoughts do you want to give power to? Because whatever you focus on does expand. So a couple bigger things when it comes to physically, training wise and inspiring wise, is that, for example, on the Tuesday we actually did our first proper 1 minute break, 3 rounds sparring, and we pretty much did what we're gonna do for the night. And I had a guy with me, and he really gave me a good push. It was a great movement throughout everything. And ultimately, looking back at the videos, I showed some of the videos to a couple of coaches, friends, and they said I did pretty well, but I still felt like I was something missing, and I still kind of wanted to try different things I wasn't able to do. And I got some takedowns, I got taken down, I got moved around. It was good because I got some hits, he got some hits, and we moved back and forth. And after the fight, our big coach, he kind of got us all together and was talking about, he has no filter, which is awesome. But he was talking about the fact that when you're going in for a fight, you just want to make sure that you do the best you can. Honestly, if you go in and you get knocked out, that's what happens. Well, that's what happens. You can't change it. Ultimately, you can just go in and do the best you can and do that. Have you put in the work? Yes. It's just a part of the game. You never know what's gonna happen certain times. You might go in doing everything right, and there's just one lucky moment the other person just gets an advantage on you. Maybe you're being back against the cage for the whole time, and then you get one punch in which glides your confidence up in the last 30 seconds, that you go on and just crush it. But again, it's just more staying in the game and going forward. So having him sitting us down, and not sitting us down, but getting us together and talking about this concept is okay, you might lose, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong about losing. Again, it's a good lesson to learn. It's more about giving your all and making sure that you do your best you can before that, and prepare now, which was very good. Now, the other thing that happened on the Friday, so the whole week I'm kind of foggy in my brain. I'm kind of trying to figure this out. What is that thing that I'm missing? And there was I was doing a rolling session with one of the guys who probably has an easy 30 kilos on me, if not more. And he's rolling in and kind of gets me over top, and he submits me, and and at one point I'm like, dude, I just can't move you. And he's like, dude, You don't want to move me, you just want to move your hips. It's like, and then I had flashbacks to week 1 and week 2 and week 3 when we were talking about this, when I was actually doing these things. It's like a lot of times I was able to give higher level belts a run for their money because I just didn't stop moving. And not because I was like hyperactive, like massive, but I was always kept moving a little bit. I never stopped moving my hips. And that's, I think, the biggest thing is that like I had him on and I tried to move him instead of focusing on me. And that just, again, I probably talked about this as in a previous video, is that you just want to be better than yesterday. You don't want, like reason why Michael Jordan was so good at basketball, because he was competing against Michael Jordan. He was competing against himself. Tiger Woods is the same. Like, reason why Tiger Woods is such an amazing golfer, because he was competing against Tiger Woods. It's you versus you. The other opponent is just a reflection in it. And I probably said this, and probably when I say this to someone, I'm like listening, I'm like, dude, this is the lesson you need to take on yourself, which is fine, and I'm just gonna have to work on that for me. But when I realized that we rolled straight afterwards, and I just did that one little thing and just kept moving, like I wasn't able to flip him. He got very close to some submissions, but like I made his life harder, and I'm like, even in this last 3 weeks, I can still work on this and just kind of hone this in and get better at it. So like those were the biggest things. Is again, if you get knocked out, that's just the name of the game. But go and do your best and just focus on yourself, not focus on the other person. Is probably the other bigger thing, especially when it came crawling, but ultimately striking as well. It's everything when it comes to fighting, but ultimately everything in life, it's you versus you. Are you better than your chapter 1? Not compare your chapter 1 to someone's chapter 15. So that's one. The other thing as well is, like, again, talked about a little bit, I've got a little bit sick this week, and I think kind of partly because I had that mental block, I kind of attracted a little bit of cold, just kind of to get a cold. Because at some points I didn't feel like I was able to push myself hard enough, and because I always had that mental block, but probably had this physical block as well of having the sickness, and that's okay. And kind of pushing through it. So, but luckily, because I'm on some very good nutrition and really take care of like what I put into my system, and like my supplementation is like second to none. Like honestly, like I've been able to push harder, last rounds longer, have more energy. Like I didn't really even break a sweat in the Tuesday night, not because like I was any better. It's just because like my conditioning was at a high level and was cold enough so that I didn't really need to break a sweat for my body to function at that point, which was very interesting to see. But ultimately, I credit that all to my supplementation and nutrition. Like I take a very strong, probably the strongest probiotic that's on the market. Like for sickness itself, I say take something called colostrum, and that has helped me a lot. And I've been really smashing it down ever since I've been feeling a little bit more off. And like knowing certain things nutrition-wise, again, like cutting out sugar is like easy, simple things that anyone can do, but not everyone does. Is always a good thing. So like food-wise, just cut out sugar, cut out alcohol, cut out. I don't drink coffee either, and not because it's necessarily bad to have coffee. It's just like I choose not to, and like too much of it is actually not good either. But like sugar, white flour is the other thing I don't really do, and like also I try to stay away from processed foods as much as I can. So that has been good, has helped me food-wise, nutrition-wise. I got a whole supplemental regime as well. Like honestly, if anyone's actually serious about taking their nutrition to the next level, like DM me on Instagram, Balint_Yoja, okay, and I can hook you up with something if that is something that you seriously want to consider and you're serious about the next step. But also another free thing, and like this is completely free on YouTube, that you can also do is work on your breathing, which was a really cool understanding for me personally. Is if you never heard of Wim Hof, you want to look him up. Okay, I'll leave a link in the description below to one of the videos I use. It's a breathing exercise where for a couple of minutes you breathe in and then let your breath out, but consistently. It's like and breathe in as much as you can, and you relax your air out. And that in itself, you do that for a couple of minutes, and then you're able to hold your breath for like 2 minutes. Like with breathing out no air in the lung, you're able to hold your breath for 2 minutes. It's insane because level up your oxygen, and because doing that little breathing method, you're able to tap into your brainstem, your immune system, your endocrine system, and you're able to fight disease and viruses just by doing your breathing. Like, how cool is that? Okay, so there's so many components to it. Like, honestly, like, these for me is like the trinity of health. Like, make sure that you get your like food right, like, you know, like what you're putting into your system, but also how much, and so the what it's there. Also supplement, because like in today's world, like, so there's so many crap out there, chemicals, toxins and everything. You want to make sure you get a good supplementation, but also if you take your breathing and take that to the next level, then itself, that's gonna really help, and you can do that anywhere. Like, you feel this amazing buzz through your body. It's such a weird experience. It's 15 minutes long. I'll leave the link in the description below, but check it out. It's so good. But honestly, that is my trinity for getting better when you're sick, and also preventing sickness as well, because I've been doing really good. I think it's just that mental block kind of attracted the sickness in, and again, I feel pretty good. It's just the block nose. That's all that really got to me, so I'm happy with that. Now, on the other side as well, I wanted to talk about this for a number of different videos, and after I finished, walk away, start editing, I'm like, damn it, I forgot to talk about this as well. It is my weight. It's my, I talked about this in the past, like, for me, food has been an issue of not necessarily what I'm eating, as necessarily the amount that I'm eating. And that has kind of held me back for a long time, for a number of different reasons. So like, it kind of kept me at 75, where I was 75 kilos and I needed to be at 70. Well, I wanted to walk at 72, but and because like taking 2 kilos off is not a big deal, but taking 5 kilos off, that's when you start having troubles, especially if you've never done it before. So I didn't really want to have that. I wanted to kind of focus on be at 72, keep that, and then just work on taking that rest of those 2 kilos off. And the last couple of weeks, I've been doing really good. Like, this whole week I was under 73, and today I actually went under 72, which was really cool. But there was a couple of things I did for that. Like, my biggest issue is the fact that whatever in front of my plate, like whatever in front of me, I feel this urge that I have to eat and finish my plate. Coming from a European background, as I mentioned in the previous video, like, that has been just drilled into me that finish your plate is good manners, and that's hard, and sometimes those things are hard to overwrite. So I kind of tricked myself. So sometimes you can like just crush through them and get something new, but sometimes you can trick yourself. So one of the things I've been doing is I take the same amount of food to work, I just half it, and keep the second half for the next day. And so I don't take food for that day, I just eat the rest, leftovers from the day before, and I only eat that half and then put the rest in the fridge, and so I have a small amount in front of me. And that is easier for me, because then I not worry about this program, which has been causing me so much trouble to try to get over of eating too much because it's too much in front of me. Have less and just finish that, and that's okay. And it's not always easy, but that's easier than try to control how much I'm eating, or try to be at 80%, which is not the perfect. It just doesn't work as easy for me. So it's like, the thing I wanted to talk about is like, sometimes you need to find these elegant kind of compromising challenges where you get the same result, but doing it in a way that works for you, which is the clear difference. So that has been good for sure. Other thing as well, like, I know for a fact that if I'm still feeling the urge to eat, one of the other things I've been doing is I just go and drink a ton of water. I mean, like scull 3 glasses of water until I physically feel full, where I know, like, okay, cool, this is enough for me to not eat anymore. And like, sometimes I have to do, like, again, like, sometimes you have to do these tricks so that you not go and just gorge on everything and anything. Because like, one of the biggest triggers for me right now, and the hardest thing that is for me, is that I can do this pretty well when I'm not at home, but when I'm home, being in the kitchen is one of the biggest triggers for me to eat. Like, sometimes I'm just thinking, and next thing I know, I'm already in front of the fridge or cupboard opened up, and I'm almost reaching for something, and I'm like, well, hang on a second, I'm not eating right now. Like, what am I doing here? It's just like, when you relax and like habits take over, sometimes you end up in like, oh, you're in front of the fridge. It happens. Again, it's more about finding these challenges and how I'm able to mitigate with them. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this week's video. Hope you guys had an incredible week. We got 3 more weeks left when I'm actually recording this, and this is gonna be a fun adventure. So make sure you like, comment below what you got out of it. If you learned something or you have a story to share, I would love to actually hear that in the comments below. And make sure you subscribe and ring that notification icon as well, so you never miss another video. You guys enjoy your week. I'll see you in the next video.